Hello everyone, hope we are audible. So we are back with the Cybersecurity Awareness Month talks. Today we have VIKAS Kumar Paul, an application security expert with 7+ years of experience in penetration testing and expertise in delivering source code review assessment on programming languages such as Java, .NET, Python, PHP, Go, C, and C++. He's also a well-known bug bounty hunter and has got bugs in companies like Microsoft and also has the experience of delivering talks at peer list and OS chapters. He has been working closely with government clients and also has the experience of handling many international clients. We are glad that he's here to deliver his talk on source code review standards. And let us all welcome Mr. Vikas. Hello, sir. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, thank you, Naveen, and hello, everyone. Naveen, shall I start or will wait for the 11 o'clock?
Uh, like uh, we can go ahead, I guess. Like we can just introduce about yourselves in the meantime.
Okay, okay, okay. So, hello, everyone. This is Vikas Marpal, and been in the industry from last 7 years. In application security, I have been working with the many organizations. Currently, working with that one of financial organization of US. And my basic focus area is penetration testing and secure code review. That I love secure code review. So and apart from that, I think you can see my screen. So this is about yeah. So this is secure coding standard. So many of you have gone through about coding and all, and it's like some people might think like coding is not for us, only for the developers. And basically, with the when it comes to the security people, they think like, okay, I am from the security guy, and I don't need to handle with the code and all. So, but that there is news for you. At the certain point of time, everyone needs to understand the coding, and they had to go through the code and find bugs inside that one. Okay, if let's consider about the red teaming. If you're doing the red teaming in that one, you'll have to go with that white box testing and black box testing. I will explain all those things in later slides. Okay, so let's start. 1 minute. So this is all about me. I have already discussed, and it's been a beautiful journey for the application security. So if you are thinking about to go ahead, make your career inside that one, it's very good journey, and uh, you'll learn a lot. Or you'll not have anything that you are thinking. This is my particular area. When you are into security, every area is your area. Okay, so it's very good. Uh, Area means the security, application security. So means like you can go in network also, but I didn't. I mean, mostly I get chance for working with the application. So let's get started. So about secure coding. So when we do, let's suppose before going into the coding, secure coding, I've just briefly discussed about the what exactly coding is. So I might means some of the people have when I talk to them, they will say like coding is hard. This is not for me. So what exactly coding is? Coding is it's like a communication language. When we are discussing in English. Okay, that means there is something, some syntax is there that we can share our thoughts and our vision through one medium. Same is programming language. Okay, so when we are talking to a computer system, that is programming language comes into the picture. Okay, so now when we understand what is the coding, if like I always give this example when I have to tell about the coding. Means it's coding is something like making a tea. If I'll ask you like what is coding, so you will think I mean sorry how to prepare a tea. So I got the answer this way. First, I'll put milk and then tea, then sugar. My tea is prepared. But that is wrong answer. What is the correct answer? First, I need to have the stove. Okay, I need to have a pan. Okay, and then water. All those things with step by steps. That's all the coding is. When you are following approach, and you are following steps. Because without stove you cannot make tea. So that is coding. Okay, so and when it comes to the secure coding, so we understand the coding. Now we'll go for the secure coding. What exactly secure coding is that? Secure coding is nothing, it's just knowing things. Okay, for me, I believe you all are a security person. Okay, so what exactly security is? Okay, the security means is like protecting your assets. So means how we will protect any of our assets by writing secure code. So when you are doing penetration testing, when you are doing the network testing, everywhere coding is there. Somewhere you will use tools. Whenever you are clicking on a button, and means when on you're clicking on that button, on behind of that button there will be some code is running. So those kind of things we have to think. So everywhere is a code. Any kind of testing you are doing, you will have to deal with the code. You have to understand the mechanism. Okay, so this is secure coding standard. Now let's go. Okay. So when we talk about the testing, there are actually three types of testing is there. Okay, one is that SAST. Okay, SAST is like white box testing. Means whenever you got any application, you are not directly dealing with the application, like, oh, you have opened in your browser or you have seen the application in your phone. It's not like that. You will get the source code, and that source code, finding bug inside the source code, that comes under the SAST, means static application security testing. And now coming back to the next one is the DAST, static. Sorry, here is a mistake is there. It is the dynamic. Sorry for this one. So it's a dynamic application security testing. It's a means about black box testing. In that one, you'll not see the code, but you'll have to go their functionality, and you have to check the user interface and click and understand the application and find security bugs and vulnerability inside that. Now coming back to the third one, this one is a new. Actually, I'll not say new, but it is now in the boom in the current industry. Every organization is working on it. What exactly software composition analysis is? You have gone through the WASP top 10. Under that one, there was one vulnerability is vulnerability in known components. Okay, so that is means like whenever your application using third party component, what are the vulnerability inside that third party component? Okay, that comes under the software composition analysis. This is also comes under little bit on the SAST, not 100% I'll say, but it's there. Okay, so this is all about the types of testing. Now, this is actually I was talking about common myth about programming language and secure coding. So whenever when we are in, I was in college. So when I used to think like I can do the coding, so some people will say, you need to be genius to be a code. And also there was one myth also going on, means you need to be means out of the out of this world to know the hacking. So I'm right now in hacking, and I'm into the coding also. But one thing I'll tell you, I'm not genius. So, so it's a very simple and easy techniques. It means you can think. So it's there is no rocket science to doing the coding. It's just a simple thing I was talking about. Deliver whatever in your mind. Just feed it to the computer. Now another aspect I heard about from the students and the many professional is like the coding is boring. No, it's not boring. It's like, do you understand your application? If you understand your application, it's not boring. What you are making, okay, if you have a vision and if you understand those things, it's not boring. So That is also means whenever next time I think after this session I'll tell you, if you're going for the coding and you are see the coding, then your approach will be different. One thing I'll tell you, I'm going to honest with you, I'm not going to teach you exactly coding over here, but yeah, I might change your perspective or think about the coding. Okay. So, and another thing that we see is that you need to be good at math for doing coding. What? No, we are not doing science project over here. It's like for doing the coding. No, 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 math is not important. It's just a simple, plain and straight thing. It's like what we call steps, your algorithm. If I'll have to cross the road, what should be my approach? Okay, I should wait for the street light. When it is on red, then I can go. Okay, I can cross the road. It's a simple steps. Okay, so it's nothing like if you are doing coding, you should be good into the math. No. Okay, another thing is I have talked about is like when there is a security person, he will be means like security analyst and all. I mean, during college days, actually, basically, I'll tell. Those time there is one mindset I observe is like I'm into the penetration testing. Thanks to God, I will never encounter with the coding. Then see, this is the one of the biggest myth. You will definitely encounter. Even though you are a network security, you'll have to learn Python. Okay, if you're even you're in application security, you'll have to learn the JavaScript. Okay, even some server side code, or you have to write some of the web shell. Okay, or sometime you have to automate the process. Okay, so it's not like you are into the penetration testing, you're not going to implement what we call a application, but yeah, you might need coding to make process very easy. Okay. And another thing is, this one is when I talk with the developers and all, like, okay, why did you choose Java or Python? They will say, no, these are the secure language. Okay, for that myth, I can tell, see, there is no language is secure, first of all. Every language, even though Java, Python, and nowadays Go and all language, all are vulnerable. But the thing is, whenever you're writing a code, if you know the what exactly security is, okay, then what exactly this security is, then you will means make programming very secure way. Okay, the writing code is in secure way. Okay, so the thing is, no language is secure. Okay, you have to write the secure code, and that's we are going to learn today. Okay. Now coming back to the next one is that penetration testing has been done, so no need to doing SAST. So this is another myth. It was means like when this for most of the organization, they have started doing application security penetration testing for the web application and or means like application. So they thought into that one like I have done the penetration testing, there will be no bug. But when again that application are getting hacked, so there was some lack of the thing system is there was no secure coding testing has been done. Okay, I'll tell you this way. Let's suppose your application has is using one encryption techniques, okay, to encrypt all of the data. But what was the common mistake the developer has might have done it over there? He had copied that code from the Stack Overflow or from the GitHub. Okay, and they haven't changed that encryption key. Means they are using the same encryption key, whatever the that encryption key is mentioned on the Stack Overflow, and they haven't thought about changing it. So you can see your code is secure, everything is secure, but the one common mistake that one only you can check inside the source code. You miss that part, and now your application is vulnerable. Your application is using weak encryption technique, not weak encryption technique, strong encryption technique with the big loophole. Okay, so do we understand now like when we are doing the programming language, what are things we should, and we should change our mindset about the secure coding. And you can leave your comment if you have any question. I can see. Okay, another mindset. So I was talking about the mindset. So changing. So what problem does secure code review solve? Okay. So I'll tell you about where this secure code review happen. In We all know about SDLC, software development lifecycle. In that one, we do this one design, requirement gathering, then implementation, coding, and later is that coding, then maintenance, all of the steps are there. Okay. And in the testing, that penetration testing also come. But when you're doing the secure code review, it will come during the coding and implementation time. This all means before the testing also. So think in this way, because when you're going from in SDLC from one step to another steps in the SDLC, it takes a hell lot of the time. Okay, now in testing, if you find any bug, you are going again on the design and all, or changing all those things, finding and all bug. It will take so much time. But when you are doing the secure code review, you will resolve all the problem at initial stage. That's the biggest advantage of secure code review. And now most of the organization are doing secure code review, and it's a very good career right now. Okay. And another best part of the secure code review, you don't need to be expert into the coding first of all. So whenever you are thinking like uh, when we are doing the secure code review, I should be expert. So when I was telling about it's like whatever the language I have learned. So if you'll ask me to write a code in one of the language, I might not write. But yeah, if you give me the code, I can read this code. So that is the one good thing about the secure coding is you have to learn how to read other codes. If we let's about talk about the whenever you are writing in your handwriting, anything you are writing, then your friend, he will not able to read that code, but you are able to read that code. So means like always, not code actually, language, handwriting only, but it always what we call is means reading another handwriting is hard. Okay, when we are reading your handwriting, then it is easy for you. So here little bit trick is come here is you should able to learn how to read other person code, and it's very easy. What you have to do, just to know little bit syntax about that programming language, like what is int, where, how the method will or function is getting implemented over there, and step by steps. It's not like just pick any piece of the code. No, no, just start with the basic, like hello world and all, spend 2 3 hours, okay, or a week. Sometime it takes month also, but when you're doing the initial stage, okay. But when you'll be expert in the reading other code, okay, so the and at that moment, okay, so after that when you'll become the reading, then it will be easy for you. Sometimes it will take 6 hours or a week, but yeah, you will learn. So start learning reading other person code, okay. Yeah, so this is very important. Try to learn, and where you are going to learn, just you have so many public repository. One of the popular one is GitHub. Okay. Another is there are some common terminology that we are going to use. One is the vulnerability, another is source code, and third is entry point. So I'll tell you about one thing. I hope you all know about the vulnerability. Vulnerability is a loophole inside the system. So why I mentioned this one means like we all know vulnerability. So my point of being seeing the vulnerability is totally different, and is vulnerability is something, and it is for the developers also. Vulnerability is something you cannot fix it until unless you know the vulnerability. You cannot find a vulnerability inside the source code until unless you know the vulnerability. So it's like whenever you are trying to find anything, first learn about it. Okay. And how to learn it? Basic thing is whenever you heard about any vulnerability, just go with their name. Okay. Let's suppose cross-site request forgery means there is something that request is done by someone else. So you'll have find your definition inside the vulnerability. Take any vulnerability. Take any vulnerability. You will find the definition inside that vulnerability's name itself. So try to read vulnerabilities also. Okay, so let's build basic, and also I'll not expect everybody should know all those vulnerabilities. Like there are thousands of vulnerabilities over the uh, web. Okay, we cannot know all the vulnerabilities. Then that for that one there will be some uh, different approach will come then when you are finding or encountering with the new vulnerability. But the basic vulnerability you should know. So basic vulnerability, where you will get it, take OWASP top 10, Sense 25, those things you can take it as a reference and learn about the vulnerability. Because if you don't know the vulnerability, you cannot find it. If you don't know the vulnerability, you cannot fix it. So those are the means like key term for the vulnerability. Coming back to the next thing is source code. So source code, you all know it. It's not that source code movie. Either it's a very good movie, but source code is whenever any application you are running and uh, then you got that source code. Sometimes you'll get the GitHub link. Sometime that organization they will give you code you to download inside your in local system and run your tools. I'll show you those things. Okay. Now coming back to the entry point. Entry point is something from where attacker will get enter inside your application. So we understand this common terminology. Now, and coming back to the types of secure code review, there are two types of secure code review. One is that automated secure code review, and another is manual secure code review. So, whenever we are using any source code, any tools, okay, that tools will walk through your code and give you some vulnerabilities. I'll run one tool. I'll show you, but I cannot show you any kind of commercial tools. But I'll show you one of the open source tool to find the bug. Okay, so now coming back to the this when your tool is running through the application and it will give you result. So that is the most thing is it will give you 70% of false positive. Okay, so and true positive 30%. Yeah, I know that that enterprise tool they will might disagree with me, but it's that this record I'm telling you based on my experience. There you will not find anywhere. Okay, so why exactly this happened with the automation secure code review is like those tools they will read the keywords. Okay, they will search inside the source code like password. It will search wherever the password is written. It will think out this is the hard coded, and that is one of the vulnerability. So based on that, because this automation most of the automation source code tools they don't have that much intelligence right now. Maybe in future then intelligence might come and we can see this false positive can be reduced to 30% and true positive can go to the uh, 70%. But whenever you're doing the secure code review and all the tools are there, then another question will come with on the student's mind, like there are tools available, then we don't have so much career into that one. No, it's not like that. Whenever tool is giving something, there will be a person or security analyst is required to verify all those results, whatever has came. Okay. Now coming back to the another thing is another part of this is manual source code review. Manual source code review. In that one, security analyst will go and follow some process and find the vulnerability inside the source code. Okay, they will go and manually verify each and every, and there will be 95% of true positive and 5% of false positive. Okay, I think I'll let me explain this word. False positive means somewhere you will see this is a vulnerability, but when you'll do the extra research, you will find out that is not a vulnerability. That can be something that developer has done intentionally, or there is no bug into that one. That is called false positive. And true positive is it's an actual bug. Now, after this, we understand these two approach or these two type of secure code testing. There one question is coming mind: which one is better, automated or manual? Because by the looking the record, you will say manual is better. But now the trick part is automated automated scan secure code review. It means like suppose you got that 1 crore lines of code. Okay, 1 crore lines of code. Does a single security analyst able to go through the 1 crores of lines of code? No, that is not possible. Okay, so how will do it? That time, that security analyst, he will use automated scan, get the result, and manually verify it. So combination of automated and manual is important. So we cannot say which one is better. Both are important, equally important. Now, coming back to another most important and backbone of our this session is a secure coding standard. So secure coding standard is something like whenever you are doing means you all know that development process how it will be happen. Means there will be client, there will be server, there will be communication, there will be request, okay, there will be input and all. So we'll go through with all those things, all the steps and security component that we should take care of. Okay, now coming back to the first part is input validation. And first important thing in security we should know, like never trust your user. Never. Even that user is your fellow colleague, you trust. Okay, you can trust him on the personal level. Okay, but you cannot trust on the professional level. He might doing intentionally, unintentionally, but he can make harm to your application. Or sometime it happened with us also. It's like I am doing something and I don't want to make a serious things, but it can be happen with them. So do not trust yourself also. Do not trust means anyone, so do not trust yourself also. So for how we can avoid all those things, so for that one, first is input validation. Input validation is something whenever any user input is coming from the entry point, okay, do sanitization, okay, prefer whitelisting. What is sanitization? Sanitization is this time we all using sanitizers. Why we're using it? To remove the germs. So same way sanitization is to remove the bad characters or special characters or malicious characters from our input field. Okay, that is called sanitization. Another thing is and I have seen this thing is very means like developer might think if you're over here why anybody will do some kind of error is they will do validation via using JavaScript at client side. Okay, they said like I have validated username, I have validated password, everything, but they forgot to put the same filter on the server side code. Okay, so when we say there are two type of language is there, one is server side and another is client side. Client side JavaScript. So JavaScript is mainly for the users usability and performance, but when you come talk about the server side validation, that will for getting anything malicious inside our server. Okay, so input validation always make sure in your code it is happening at the server side. And the third one is output encoding. Output encoding is whenever any HTML or JavaScript is getting render on your client side on your browser, okay, it should be changed into some other form. That form is called HTML entities. Okay, that comes under the output encoding. I know there are so many words I might use that you will feel like I haven't never heard about it, like HTML entities and all. So go again, and because in this small session I cannot go through with all this terminology, but I'll try to make sure I'll give you most of the information. So this output encoding is to one tools to uh, uh, directly deal with the cross-site request scripting vulnerability. Now, coming back to the next part is authentication. What is exactly authentication? Giving permission to a right user. How will you get to know he is a right user? By giving that password or any key value or token. Okay, so whenever you are performing authentication, what are the things you should check? Okay, as a standard, I'm talking about the standard. You means like the topic of this session is secure coding standard, avoid mistakes and how to correct them. So this standard will help you to correct them. Okay, I'll show you the mistakes and in the demo part, so you'll understand how to avoid that. So do not worry on that part. And another thing is, so whenever you are doing the authentication, do put account lockout, that we can see in anything in our phone. Somebody is trying to put a wrong pin in our phone 4 or 5 times, that our phone will say come back later after 10 minutes. So that is some kind of account lockout. So same things you have to check wherever you are implementing the login mechanism. Okay, and also this another thing is username enumeration. What exactly this one is, means whenever any user is insert, means on the login page you are giving one username and your application is telling this user does not exist, and you have given any non-user of to that application, it will say uh, sorry, if you are giving any user which is inside the application, and it will let you know enter the password and something like that. Okay, but whenever you are giving any non-user of the application, at that email id of setting, it is giving like this user does not exist. That means here attacker can understand which user is a part of the application, which user is not. Okay, so this is one of the vulnerability you have to check inside the source code. Now come back to the next part of the MFA. MFA is multi-factor authentication. Even though in today's days there are so many things is happening, means we are implemented secure password, and we are doing means like changing, asking our user to do that 30 means 3 months, after 3 months change your password again and again. So many things we are implementing, but still this password thing is still in the question. Okay, you cannot means trust on your password also, whether it is compromised or not, somebody is using. How would you know? Not because we don't go on our account, we check is where our account is got, last we is getting access. Those things you have to check. And also check your, does your application has implemented the MFA, multi-factor authentication, that is like login using the OTP, okay, or using RSA token and all. Okay, and next part is whenever you checking on the login page, check does there is password change functionality is there or not. It's very important, because if your application doesn't have the password reset mechanism, once your password get compromised, how will you change it? So this is one of the big vulnerability that you have to take care of it. So whenever you get any application, you should have some standard mechanism. These are the things. Okay, you have to check. Okay, now whenever you're coming back to the password, so I already tell strong password policy is important. Okay, and this is one more thing. When you are writing a code and inside the database, do not insert. Sorry, do not use encrypted password to stored password inside your database. Always do the hashing. Because I'll tell you one thing is that is no matter how much secure your lock is, it will get open with the key. If your key is compromised of your encryption, then in whatever the data password you have stored inside your database in encrypted form, that can be decrypted, and you can attacker can get the plain text. So never do the encryption. What we should use, we should check, does for password storing our application is using hashing technique or not. Now coming back to the next terminology or next component is access control. Access control is write data to the right user. Means you have to check whenever you are accessing any data, okay, inside your code, does that data is belong to that particular user or not? Have you put that check inside the source code or not? So whenever I'm talking have you checked, means when you will start learning the code, okay, and how you start reading the code, you will understand all those things whatever I'm saying. Okay, this it's very easy. Means there will be steps somebody has written, and when I'll show you in demo how easy it is to find the vulnerability, how much easy, then you'll feel totally different right now. But it's important to know first all those things. Now security misconfiguration. So whenever in your code you have to check like all the http security header is added or not. Okay, security headers is like cache control, content security policy headers, and X content type. All the most of there are so many access control. There are so many security HTTP secure sorry response header is there that you can use it. Okay. Now coming back to the another thing is there are so many HTTP headers are there. Okay, like X powered by server, they will reveal the sensitive information about the server. So you have to check are those headers are removed from the application or not. Okay, so these are very easy and I think there is no confusion into that one. Now, another thing is general coding practice. This is very much important. Is like whenever you are going to give the interview for the secure code review, that interviewer will always ask, like, what are the vulnerability that you can find inside the secure code review, but not in the penetration testing. It's a very common question. So one of the vulnerability is this hard-coded credentials. Whenever a developer is writing the code, okay, they will generally hard-code the username and password inside the source code for their benefit. But can you give me 1 minute? I think somebody. Hey, hi, am I audible? 1 minute. Hello. Yeah, I think I'm audible. Okay, great. So next part is another thing is whenever I already told you about this public repository, so do not copy any items from the public repository. And then this one is this another thing is whenever you are initializing any object, okay, always close inside the finally block. I will show all those things into the demo. Okay, now coming back to the next things, whenever your application does have this file upload, okay, so in that file upload mechanism, what we have to check file size whenever any file is getting uploaded inside uh, on your server. You check the file size, check for the file extension, content type, and also check for the antivirus. It is antivirus check is implemented inside the source code or not. And now coming back to another thing is that communication security. So your application should use, are you does your application is using secure channel or not? Okay, Now coming back to the third part is encryption and hashing. Always use the strong algorithm encryption where there are hashing. Okay, so these are some common security standard. There are so many, so we cannot discuss in them. But you'll go. I'll provide the materials. You can get over this. But these are so much common that everybody should know whenever you are implementing the application. Okay. Now coming back to the next item. So let's do some secure code review, and I'll show you some of the OWASP top 10. Before that one, there are some prerequisite, that is source code. Okay, another thing is IDE, means IDE is like where we do the coding. Means like there is Eclipse, Visual Studio, Visual Code Studio, Notepad++. There are many more. We should have it. I'll show you today on the demo on one of the ASP.NET application by using the Visual Studio. Okay, but the process will go with the rest of the idea also. It you have to follow the same when you are going to find the vulnerabilities. And another most important thing is comes with this. There is a this link is CLOC. CLOC is very important because it will count the how many lines of code your source code have. Okay, and also you need a reporting template. So reporting template, I'll show you one of my. Okay, but most of the organization have their different reporting template. And again coming back to the checklist. Checklist is a list of all the vulnerabilities. Okay, so uh, when you are learning, my personal suggestion is create your own checklist. Okay, but because in organization, if you'll go to any organization, they might have their own checklist, but try to implement your own checklist. Okay, and you will slowly whatever vulnerability you learn, put it inside your checklist in Excel file. Put that particular vulnerability name over there, and learn about it. And whenever you are doing the review, you check like have I checked this vulnerability inside the source code or not. Now again, this is two most important terminology for a secure code review is source and sync. So source is entry point or input field. Sync is where that particular user input is getting executed or getting saved or is in the process. So these two things are there, source and sync. Now, see, there are three testing approaches there. First of all, I'll tell you, I talked about the automation security testing approach. In that one, I'll tell you, there are this keyword search and flow based search. Most of the tools they use. Okay, the story based approach they don't use generally, but I think means like when that more artificial intelligence will come to the tools, then they might have implement this one also. Okay, now coming back to the keyword search, what exactly keyword search is there? So keyword search is to find low hanging fruits and identifying the entry points, means source. Okay, so we'll see those things in demo. Another thing is this keyword search approach is divided into two parts. Means whenever you search in any vulnerability inside source code, you need these things. Right now you feel like those things, but when I'll show the demo, all will make sense. Okay. So whenever there are two types, one is when you are searching with these keywords, okay, you will get some result, and then based on those results, you will try to find the vulnerabilities. Another thing is with zero result, you will try to find some vulnerabilities. Okay, so we'll see all those things. Going back to the flow-based search. So what is flow-based search is traversing from source to sink in entire source code. Okay, that is called flow-based search. Means from one point is where the user input has entered and where it is getting executed. That part. So I have created one flow here for the user registration page. You can see first user will go to access any HTML form for the registration, username and password, city, and all those so many questions will be there. And from that, when you click on the HTML page on the submit or register button, it will take you to the server side. And on server side, what will be there will be registration method. and that registration method will have this check user, that user exists or not. There will be another method, and once this will get verified, then your compiler will go to the next one, is insert record. So inserting those record. So when for that one it will go to the SQL query. You can see there is some flow. So you have to, in the code, you have to follow this flow, one step by step one. Then you will understand how to find all the vulnerabilities. Now coming back to the third approach, it's means like this approach is you will not find anywhere in the or means like anywhere. It's, this one is just this name I have given because for me it's like you'll find like business logic approach, but I gave the name is story based approach. Okay, so what exactly this story based approach is? So in that one, you have, whenever you get the source code, because it's a white box testing. Okay, in white box you cannot see anything on the UI because that application is not running. You will have the code. It's like matrix. Okay, everywhere the code will be there. Okay, so you have to design a picture and you have to understand the application, what exactly the business of that application is there, and you have to find the bug inside it. Those are related to business logic, and you have to think about what are the things can go wrong. Okay, do you have the pictures and use case diagram or not? Okay, let's see one sample code over here. So for the story based approach, this is like request.query, and you can see this request.query is this is means like user input, means source. I was talking about uh, source and sync, and entry point. So in the source code, if request.query is coming, that means this is the user input. Okay, so this means amount of that particular product, it is coming from the user, and also which product has been selected by the user, that will comes under the product ID. And these two values is getting passed to this pay method, and this pay method is product price and product ID. Let's see the implementation of this particular method. Here it is taking integer amount value, and there is taking string of the product ID, and it is sending to the payment gateway amount and product ID. We understood this is some kind of online shopping websites code. What things can go wrong over here? Top of my head is that it is taking, this application is taking amount from the user. Okay, so let's suppose there is, for this product, if 5,000 is the amount they are taking from the user. If user is, if by intercepting, if will change the amount value of that particular product to 0 rupees, and this will go to the payment gateway with the product ID which whose price is 5,000. Okay, but user has sent 0 rupees. It's a bad way to implement. Okay, but how did you get to know? This is some story, because there is an online shopping website. Okay, you have to create and build one story and you verify it, that same kind of story has implemented over here or not. We can see, oh yeah, all those things are there, and there is a bug. This amount should not be the user input here. This line is vulnerable. Okay, so let's see how we can avoid this kind of vulnerability. Secure way, we are not taking user amount value from the user. Okay, we are only taking the product ID, and this product ID we are passing through the pay method. In pay method, we have another method is get amount. This product with the product ID. So what this get amount will do? Get amount method, it will go to the database server on the server side. It is not the user input. This is not the source. Sorry, whatever this amount is coming now, this is not the source. It is internally on the server. It is coming. Okay, so now we'll send this amount and product ID to the payment gateway. Okay, and also that payment gateway is the not that whenever you're implementing, you have to there will be some third party application. So whatever you'll give, that payment gateway will agree. If you are giving 0 rupees, payment gateway, because payment gateway doesn't have the database, you have the database for the amount. So do not let user to manipulate that amount value. So this is a secure way. Okay, we have solved, means like we understand how much it is important to see the code and verify the story and flow and keyword search. Okay, now it's time for the demo, and Okay. So this is the code. Here you can see this is the ASP .NET code, and do we have over here is this is the one of the template I will use. Okay, here. Okay, and let's go here, and for the ASP.NET there is a one thing is called solution file. Okay, so when I told you you have to go and learn about the code. On the YouTube everything is available, you just go and check. I can tell you approach. Okay, so solution file is that it will integrate all those files and path to here only. Okay, so I think you can see my screen. And a little bit I'll tell about the ASP.NET application. Okay, in ASP.NET application, you should understand this. Let's suppose this is the scoreboard. Okay, so this is the HTML page or view part, means that will show to the client. Okay, and every AXPX will have one code behind file, means like for this view part main, this is the code it will be. uh, you can see my you can see the code, or do you need me to increase the font? Okay, I'll little bit increase. Okay, now this is the ASP.NET, and this is the web.config file. In that one, all the configuration will be there for your application. Okay, I have taken this source code is the sample from the GitHub. Okay, so we'll see all those reading things. So now coming back to the again our slide, I'll go to the keyword search that I was talking about. So here is our first keyword. I will go copy. How to do it, I'll tell you. I'll go here and press the Control F, enter that password keyword over here, and select always entire solution and click on file down. Okay, so let's go through each result. Okay, so here somewhere it is written on the source code password, but it is that HTML page. Okay, there is no server side code. That doesn't have any sensitive information. Okay, now come back to the another. So I told you that .axpx, here you can see .axpx, that is the view part, means that will show to the on the browser. It will run whenever you will see an ASP.NET application, you will know all the pages name will come with this way. But when it comes to .cs, that is C sharp. Okay, .aspx .c sharp. Okay, so that is the actual code behind code, means server side code that I was talking about. This will be the server side code. Now let's see this particular method name. What is this? I'm just telling, I'll show you how to read it. So this is the login button, means on this particular default.ax, if you'll go and design part, you can see there is a login button. Okay, and this is the code behind page, sorry. Okay, now on the login button, what they have done it, they okay, see this username dot text box dot text. So try and go here on again this HTML page, and you will see with that name is yeah, this username dot text box, that's ID. Okay, and here username dot text box. Okay, so value of that particular is coming here. Okay, so here on the application you are checking this value is with the test. They have hard coded the username in the login page, and they have hard coded the password.text box value is the test they are checking. Okay, so we can see the password is hard coded. This is the username, and this is the sample. Okay, generally people will not do it, but it's a sample code. So I'm telling. So here this particular password is hard coded inside the source code. Okay, so we have found one vulnerability. I'll tell you how much easy this one. How you'll so open your template. and type the first name, hard coded credentials. Okay. And another important part is you have to copy the all the instances. So how will you copy the instances? Instances means in penetration testing you will have the affected URL or the vulnerable URL. Here you will have the uh, path of that file. So copy the full path, paste it here, and on which line this vulnerability is there is line number 55. Voila, we got our first vulnerability over here. So now again come back to the source code. We have found one vulnerability over here. Okay. Now we'll see another vulnerability. So as I told you, request.query. Okay, we'll go to our PPT and you can see this is the another keyword request.query, and we can see here there is request.query. What exactly this request.query will do? This parameter is responsible for any data is going on the get request. We know there is a http method is get method and post method. Okay, so this request.query is the get method. Okay, so whenever any sensitive data is going on the get method, that is one vulnerability. Okay, so we'll have to check what parameter, but here it is the return URL. Okay, so what it is doing after login, whatever, and this is the user input. Okay, this is the user input. So I told you one thing about the insecure code review. You have to think about a picture. So I'm trying to draw on picture is here. Like whenever you are doing the login, on the login, it will take. Okay, I'll take you to the here, something like that. Your URL is login page is there. www.ups.com/login.xpx. Okay, and return URL equal to profile. This is one URL is there, and now come here. We'll see here. This is the user input. Okay, so after login, as attacker, what it did for the same on the login page, attacker. This is the login page. If let's suppose attacker has sent you this one, and he will send something like that URL. On profile, he will write www.civil.com. So once a normal user will log in with their credential, after login, okay, your application will redirect to evil.com. Okay, that is some kind of phishing vulnerability, and this vulnerability is called open URL. So let's verify this vulnerability. We understand. We'll verify here. So what is happening? Means whenever your request.query string is not null, means there is some value, then it is response.redirect method. This method is all means like this method is responsible whatever the URL is coming on the return URL, it will redirect to that particular page. Hence, we'll come here again. Let's see. Here it will redirect to the profile or evil.com. We'll come here. Okay, so we'll see on the login page, it is redirecting to whatever the user input is provided by. So it will redirect to evil.com. So this is one story, and we one test
Excuse me,
case.
sir.
Yeah,
Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. So, can you maximize the screen a bit more, like even the notepad one?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So now it's fine.
Yes, it is fine now.
Okay, great. So this is the evil.com, and this is the profile. Okay, so let's see this particular thing on the how to means how exactly it is happening. So we can see here this profile value is means this request dot return URL value is not null, so it will redirect. to on this particular whatever the data is given by the user, and this value on this one, these are the get parameter. Okay, and this value is getting manipulated at server side with the request dot query. So whatever things is there inside the return URL, if it is not validated or verified, then this will related to this will lead to open URL redirect vulnerability. So now we have found our another vulnerability is open URL redirect, and which line it is on line number 61. Then again we'll go and right click on the particular file and copy the full path and line number 61. When in your report, do not give this your system path. Okay, always give the relative path. Okay, now one more thing, sorry I forgot. So there is one important thing is to take the screenshot that you take inside the penetration testing. Same way you can take it here. So I'm using the snipping tool here. This is click on the new, select this. Okay, whenever you are taking screenshot, always make sure you are taking this file name. Okay, and highlight particular vulnerable code here. So now again one question is coming, why is this is vulnerable and how to fix it? So how to fix it is, first let's save it, this one is, I will save it anywhere. Okay, you can save it any location. Okay, so this how to means fix this one. So what is whatever is return URL or any parameter you are getting, do one thing, try to put one uh, filter over there, like this parameters means whatever the URL is coming, that should be the part of your application. This host name should match with your application, or always check for the relative path. There should be no domain names is coming inside that particular URL. So you have to design one application and you have to check put in before you are redirecting. You have to put those filter over here. So there I cannot see any filter over here, so I can say that this application have this vulnerability. Okay, now again let's go ahead and check for the another thing is, okay, we can see another is most critical vulnerability that we know, that is known as SQL injection. Okay, there is very hard to find SQL injection in that penetration testing that we know, right? But here we can see this is the SQL query, SQL command, select user and all. Now, what we can see here, this username and text box is with the plus sign, it is appended inside the SQL query. If you see this line, just directly say SQL injection. Nobody can going to argue with you. Same with the password line. Okay, so this vulnerability is SQL injection. Whatever the vulnerability I'm typing, you can go because I cannot explain. I have very limited time. Okay, so this is the vulnerability. Now let's type the vulnerability name again. Third SQL injection. Okay, or you can say it is on that, I think login page it is. So yeah, I think it is on, yeah, login page. This is on the login page. Okay, so if it is on the login page, so SQL injection, so what vulnerability name is authentication bypass via SQL injection. And which line? 72. Copy. It's important always to copy the line number, because if you're telling, you have to if you have to give this one to your manager or your colleague or anybody or your client too, so this is the proof, this is how you should give it. So line number 72 is vulnerable. Okay, with the SQL. And another, let's go to the our filter again. And sorry. Okay, one more thing is also there. You can see is that flow-based approach I was talking about. Okay, so here is that you have to check this particular method. What is the implementation is there? How do you go to implementation? Okay, there is no implementation for this one because this is a predefined method by the ASP.NET. Okay, so whatever some terminology I'm using, but when you try to learn and read source code, you will understand. Okay, now coming back to the another one. This we have seen keyword search with the result. Any vulnerability you can find, search with this one, you'll find vulnerability. Okay, I'll take the another one. So most important is the dot close. I'll do control F. Let's find all. In our code we can see there are so many SQL connection is there, and here this connection is have been in a slice and it is opened, but it is getting closed here on that one line, and it is not getting closed inside the finally block. And this is the one of the vulnerability that you cannot find inside the via penetration testing. You will have to find via the source code review. Okay, so I'll tell you before what exactly this vulnerability is. This vulnerability name is improper resource. So in the coding, there are terminology is try and catch. So why do we use try and catch? So whenever your application is running, there will be exception is coming, not error, exception. Okay, so any exception is coming, we have to catch those exception and all. Okay, so then there is a one thing is about the let's suppose you have one object A. Okay, you have initialized that object here. Okay, and this object has got the exception. Okay, exception here, and then what will happen? It will directly go to the catch block. Okay, you can understand. Okay, but in the catch, but here you can come and you are doing a dot close here. So when you get the exception on this line, your compiler will direct go to the catch. Okay, so means your compiler is not executing this line a dot close. So means your in on your memory always this one object is getting open and allocated memory. Okay, because it is not going on this line when an exception is coming. So somehow attacker has this knowledge about this particular flaw inside your code. He will send one exception request. Okay, that is not closing anything here. Okay, so what will happen on your server? There will be so many object is getting opened. Okay, and that is consuming all of your server memory, and it will not what we call so your server memory will get utilized, and whenever the new another request is coming, it will lead to the denial of service. That's the most common vulnerability that we have heard. So how to avoid this one? There is another concept called in programming that is called finally block. So all whenever your object is not getting close inside finally block, okay, then you understand directly by the closed eyes you can tell there is a improper resource shutdown vulnerability is there. So we'll come and copy this one because we have seen there is no finally block in our source code. Okay, you can see it is not getting closed inside the finally. We'll go here and we have found. Okay, so this is all about keyword search with the result. Another thing is keyword search with the zero result. Let's come to code and search for this particular thing. And let's go in our code, control F. Okay, with the access RF, I have got zero result. Let's search with the CSRF. Okay, means there is no CSRF protection in my code. Okay, maybe there will be some other. If you go through the other code, you will find with they might have used CSRF protection with the another name. That is possibility of that one is very low. Okay, but with the CSRF and XSRF, we can say there is nothing, no zero result is coming. So we can directly say our application is vulnerable to CSRF vulnerability. Okay, so we understand these two approach of the keyword search, and same way this flow-based search is whenever your code is object is going from one page to another page, so you have to follow and check all those methods inside that one. Whatever I can give anything. Let's go and does any methods are there? Implementation. How to go is. Yes, any user report. I think there will be no implement. In Java, you means here in they have written all the code in the single page only. It's all the database. Generally, what will happen? The database code will written on some other page. So what you have to do? You have to go to the implementation. Your then ID will take you to the another page. I'm not able to find it, but that is the way to go for the flow. Means from one page to another page where particular this like here this. You can see this is user input where it is getting. Okay, so here you can see this complete data is getting stored inside the database. So this is the user input. You have to follow all the user input. Now let's go back to the tools now. Sorry. We have seen the demo, and next part is tools. There are so many tools available. So commercial tool and most popular tool in the over the in our security industry is the check marks, Coverity, and HP45, and there is the Vera code. And there's some of the open source tool VCG and RIPS. So I'll show you demo for the VCG. This is the tool. Okay, visual code grapper. Okay, so how to do that one? First you have to go to the setting, select which language you want to scan. So this is the C sharp. Okay, ASP.NET, most of the server side code will be written on the C sharp. And now select the target directory, and I have kept my code on desktop. Secure code review. This is my source code selected. Okay, these are the files. Now go to the full scan. It will do the scan. Okay, we have found this many vulnerability inside that one. These are the summary. Click on that sorry title, this one. So whatever the vulnerability we have seen by the manual way, this tool has also given. So let's open this code in the line in Notepad++. Okay, so here it is telling this is the vulnerability. Okay, now that the thing I was talking about, the false positive. You can see on this particular SQL query, is there any user input ID? Okay, but if we search Control F, okay, from where this id is coming, this id is coming from the user input, but they are doing this parse int, means whatever data is coming, that will be the integer. So you cannot insert any malicious character over here is, and this is that whitelisting. So this id is not vulnerable to SQL injection. So this tool has is given me over here. It's not when this is the false positive. Okay, let's see another result for this one. Again for the ID, I think the ID is not vulnerable. Same way. Yeah, another one. Let's see another thing, other lines of code. Yeah, here you can see debug is enabled true. This is one vulnerability that is this tool has given. So it's easy. Only you have to okay, debug is true, but always on the server side, debug should be false. This is one vulnerability. Easy, very easy to find it. So I always tell maybe today this looks little bit hard, but when you will try to learn and know the vulnerability, more vulnerability you'll know, this will become so much easy. Okay, and I'll provide the link and all those study materials where you can go and try to understand. Okay, let's go back to our tools and all. So now coming back to the career, so you can see okay, now come back to the career. Secure code review in these days, you cannot find any organization they are not performing the secure code review. All most of them is application, either they are using the DevOps, they now using DevSecOps, or any CI/CD pipeline is there. They will have this all those automated secure tools is integrated in there. Okay, so they will find all those things. uh, and secure code review, another offer is getting given by the most of the service based company. There are two types of company: product based and service based company. So if you are going on the product based, mostly with the whenever they are dealing with the CI/CD pipeline and all, they are having some any secure code review in place. So for verification they need security analysis, and they have the SaaS technology, and then for that service based they use this secure code review. Okay, this service they offer. And now coming back to the for the developer, if you're a developer, that secure code review is the best option to write the secure code. Now today I go and type this asked on the LinkedIn, you'll find so many jobs you can see, and what they will ask, the development experience. This is for the security, application security. What they ask: PHP, Python, C++, and this tool 45, the tool I was showing you here. You can see 40. So whenever anybody will ask in interview like do you know this tool, so you can say deny directly, I don't know that particular commercial tool because I cannot buy those tools are very costly. So you can tell I have worked on the open source tools. Okay, but I'm open to I'm ready to learn the any commercial tool also. Okay, so these are the things you can go ahead and you can see all the how much popular as a career choice secure code review is there. And these are the reading materials and resources you can find. Like OASP also has released there is a for their secure coding practices that you can go ahead check, and go to the GitHub and try to get all the read all the code. Okay, and this one is very good, Pentester Lab, but this one is paid one, but whatever that I have given, uh, this one is free, that part. Okay, you can go ahead, but they have a paid version also, but you if you want to go ahead as a beginner, always use this one. And most important, go to the GitHub, download some source code, and use Visual Code Grapper to see all those vulnerabilities and traverse all those results of the particular VCG. Sorry. Does anybody have any question? We can go ahead. Oh, sorry, I haven't seen the comments over here. Okay, which language to get started with? Um, so I'll personally suggest go with the PHP. Okay, and then Java and ASP.NET. And there is one more thing is So, yeah, I'll share this resource link. You can get it. And I didn't understand the question, McQueen. Which source code you counter the most? Yeah, that is actually this is something is depend upon the organization. Some organization will work on the Java, some organization will work on PHP. Okay, so that's totally depend upon the organization. It's not so, but you should not afraid about the language, which language you should learn. Always think about like your approach and how you are. Whenever you are getting any new language, just go to the internet or w3 school, learn some syntax and basic things like how to identify the user input, how to identify uh, the configuration file and all, then you will be okay with the any language. So if you'll ask me what are the expertise of your language, I'll say all and none. Okay, it's not about that one, it's about how you're approaching for the source code. So whenever you get any code, source code, do not get afraid. Just go ahead with that one. But yeah, personally, I will start when the Ms. McQueen, that question is PHP. Go ahead. That will be easy. PHP. Any other question? Okay. This another question is that ID is vulnerable to IDOR. Yes, correct. ID is vulnerable to IDOR. Yeah. There you can report that vulnerability. IDOR. Correct. Good observation, McQueen.
So I guess like that is it with the questions as I far see in the comments. S- Uh, Thank you, sir, for speaking at cybersecurity awareness talks organized by Cyber Sentinel today. Like we are grateful for the time and like sharing your experience with the students. Like personally, I think this would be like very helpful for both developers and security enthusiasts. Like developers can learn how to like build a secure program, and whereas the security enthusiasts can learn a new field like secure code review, because like probably this is like one of the most unexplored fields. Mostly people go into web and then Android and all, but not into source code review. And thanks
Yes.
for giving your experience and knowledge about this field.
Thank you, Naveen. And thank you, everyone. I forgot to that. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. So, and like for all the people in the chat, like the resources and the links that have been shared, I'll take it from Vikas sir, and they will be added to the description, so you can find everything there in a meal bite.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.